everybody. We are back, and my Kansas City Chiefs are champions, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This is episode number 130 overall. It is the 30th episode of season 3, and my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And the Kansas City Chiefs delivered.
They did.
They delivered, and I watched every minute of it with a significant amount of alcohol in my veins. I drank way too much on Super Bowl Sunday. Craig was kind enough to drive, so I didn't have to think about it.
Over the course of the whole game, not all in one quarter.
Well, that's the thing. I started drinking that afternoon around 2 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. I mean, you sit there. I think I had like 7 or 8 beers over the course of the day, and you think about it. You had 8 beers over 7 hours. That's not like you're not doing keg stands or anything, but that's a lot of beer over the course of a day. So
it is.
I am back on the no beer train for a couple of days just to give my liver a break. So I have diet soda, but Craig, and I am back in the Blake Bortles Memorial Studio.
Yes,
by
we
the
are
way.
live.
We are live from the Blake Bortles Memorial Studio. Craig, however, has a tasty beverage. Craig, what are you drinking?
I have a 2019 Celebration Fresh Hop IPA from Sierra Nevada.
I've had that. I've had the previous incarnations of that. We had that last year. I think we did that last year.
I think we did.
Is it about this? Well, he's going to try it right now. He'll tell us. Is it about the same? Because I liked that last year. That was a solid winter IPA.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's malty. I think this year's a little bit more spiced. It has a subtle barley aftertaste. It's weird.
What?
This winter has been kind of warm.
For Connecticut, yes.
Yes, it was like 40 degrees today.
Yeah.
I have to say, drinking a winter-type beer when it's not, snowing or really cold out, it's kind of weird. It's still good, but it's just weird, if that makes sense.
I get that. Absolutely makes sense. And that was going to lead into my question. Is it, now that we're in January, are we done with the winter beer season? Beer seasons don't run with the normal seasons.
Right, because pumpkin beer comes out in August.
Right. Which we all know is a sticking point of yours. But spring beers will be coming out in the next 3 to 4 weeks if you think about it.
Yeah, you're going to start seeing lighter beers, a lot more sours, fruit-based beers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. It feels like once Christmas is done, I'm pretty much done with the winter beers. Although I will say this, there is one holiday ale still floating around in my fridge.
You're saving it.
I am saving it. Well, 2 years ago, I saved 1 bottle of holiday ale. This is back when I used to put it in the bigger craft bottles.
Yep.
I saved 1 bottle all the way to my birthday in May. It wasn't so good at 6 months old. Well, let's see. They bottled that in October, so it was about 8 months old at that point.
So when's the cutoff? 4 months?
I think it depends on the type of beer. I mean, obviously, we've drank old stouts on this show.
We did. We saw the future.
That's right. There was that year. That was that episode where we drank was it 2 or 3 year old bottle of Igor's Dream?
Yes.
And I remember reaching out to our friends at Two Roads and asking, is this safe to drink? And they were like, oh, yeah, you're going to love it 3 years old. And I was like, really? I don't know.
Well, we're still alive.
We are still alive. And we are here to talk about everything Super Bowl. We are now officially into the fantasy and NFL offseason. I cashed out my DraftKings account. I closed out my FanDuel account. I found a nifty tool on DraftKings where you can download your gaming history.
Oh, really?
And it will give you every contest, what you entered, where you finished, how much you
even the
won.
lineup you entered?
No. It just gives you a spreadsheet. It'll be a contest name. It gives you all that basic information. And I plugged it into this thing, and it said, congratulations, you only lost $28 this year. And I went, wait a minute. No. My personal accounting has me doubling up. What the hell? And then I realized all those free tickets that DraftKings throws at you for loyalty. We had 1 or 2
those free vouchers.
That's it. We got a free voucher because somebody signed up and used our link. We got a $10 loyalty voucher at one point. I'm like, whoa. You take out, and there's no way to weed those out of their special list because they're considered paid entries. They're a $10 entry.
You just got it for free.
We just got the entry for free. It does not differentiate, though. So next year, I have to keep an accounting on a personal basis of how many free entries we have. I'm guesstimating it's in the realm of $50 or $60 worth of free entries, which puts me a little bit over 50. But I was like, wait a minute, whoa. What do you mean I lost money? I put in $30 and I cashed out $60. But basic math tells me that's, those aren't the actual numbers, but you get where I'm going with that. So it was weird. But we are now into off-season mode. Today we'll talk about some Super Bowl stuff. We'll talk about some off-season stuff, and then we got to start getting ready for the goddamn draft.
Yeah, the Combine is next month.
The Combine is
actually
this month.
End of the month. Sorry, the
Combine is in 3 weeks.
Yes,
I don't know anything about these people.
I do a little bit because I started doing college fantasy, so I do know the names and some of the stats, but not a lot.
And let me just be clear about this. For those of you who are tuning in for the offseason, I'm not talking about the XFL. Craig can talk about the XFL if he wants. We can create a segment called Craig Talks About the XFL while Britt takes a break. We could do that. I'm not doing it.
They are going to be on DraftKings.
Good luck with that. I did actually open it just to see some of the names on there. And I'm like, Cameron Artis-Payne.
Yeah, there might be some names you know.
We're living in a world where Cameron Artis-Payne this week, an opening weekend of the XFL, is like the 6th most expensive running back. I don't know what's scarier to me, that he's that high or that they were able to recruit 5 guys who are better than Cameron Artis-Payne. I don't know which one scares me more. Let's talk some burning hot takes.
We will.
You going to give or you going to receive?
I will give.
Give it to me.
So I brought this up in our podcasters thread. So
yes.
I figured we'll just get it on the air just because. So, there's been complaints about the NFL in that it's over the last 2 seasons probably that I've heard that games are boring because of how time rules, the clock rules work, and how many commercial breaks there are.
Okay.
So when you look at, we're going to take the Super Bowl as an example,
which was a fast-moving game by my standard.
It was actually. The Chiefs and the 49ers both ran under 60 plays apiece.
Yeah.
In one game.
Yeah.
Then we take the college championship matchup, Clemson versus LSU.
Yep.
Clemson ran about 93, 96 plays.
Mm-hmm.
LSU ran 119 plays.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that's a problem that the NFL needs to fix? Do they need to adopt
I think
other
it's
different clock rules?
It's
are there too many commercials?
It's a different style of play. Commercials have nothing to do with the number of plays you run in a game. Let's separate that. If you think there's too many commercials and too many commercial breaks,
well, I think there's too many commercials in general.
That's fine. That I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying we can't tie that to the number of plays because the clock was 60 minutes 10 years ago. It was 60 minutes this year. So the play clock has been the same forever. I can't link those two. What the Super Bowl? The shocking numbers of the Chiefs ran fewer plays than the optimal number. I was listening to Charlie Weiss talk about this on NFL radio on Monday.
Remember Charlie Weiss?
I do. He's on NFL radio. And he was saying, that's the sweet spot for plays is a minimum of 60. If you run 60 to 75 plays a game, you're where you want to be. If you're running more than 75 plays a game, you either are completely dominating the time of possession and you're winning the turnover battle by 4 or 5 points, or you're rushing because you're down huge and you're just doing everything you can to try and get back into the game. He goes, so in that range, he goes, neither one of these teams made that number. And that's really shocking from the Chiefs because the Chiefs do play an up-tempo game. They did not play an up-tempo game in the Super Bowl.
They did not until the last 7 minutes of the game.
And I think that was deliberate on Reed's part. He started off with a slower pace when he started to feel that the defense was starting to wear down. And this is what the Chiefs have done all year and all offseason. 3 times coming back from double-digit deficits. 3 times in the playoffs. They were down by 10 points or more, and they came back late in the game. This is what they do. They wear you down defensively. It is not that Damian Williams suddenly decides he is the greatest running back on earth in the 4th quarter. It's that Damian Williams' legs are fresh, and you've been chasing Patrick Mahomes for an hour and a half, and you're exhausted. So I don't know. I don't think you have to make rule changes to speed up the game. You want to shorten the play clock to get more plays in? You could do that. I would argue that the play clock is a problem now. I think the teams have trouble. How many delay of game penalties do we see on a regular basis? We see home teams getting delay of game penalties because they can't hear a play being called in. I don't know. I think maybe we gotta do something about the technology then. Maybe we have to allow for I don't know. I don't even know what the answer is. But what do you think?
Yeah, same thing, because it was because of my schedule. I don't get to see college games that much, but I never realized the number of plays was that huge of a difference.
They don't use their play clock, particularly in hurry-up offenses. They don't change their personnel packages as much. They don't have the depth at skill positions.
Then I was thinking, do you think it's in the players' agreement?
No.
That we're not going to go over X amount of plays in a game?
That would be a competitive disadvantage. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that without being public about it.
Fair.
Because if that were the case, if there were some sort of legality to this, teams would exploit the crap out of it. There wouldn't be high-powered offenses at all. Everybody would try to gain 3.5 yards every play. and just matriculate down the field every 3 downs. You would try to be offenses would try to be in third down that way. If I knew I could only run, if I knew that there was a max of 120 plays per game, I would try to get 100 plays on the board before you even touch the ball. I mean, I know that's impossible. I'm saying there would be an incentive there, because then I know if I got a significant at halftime, if I'm at like, let's just say for the sake of arguments, 35 plays and you're at 15. So that's 50 plays. I know there's only 70 plays left in the game. I'm going to try and put 25 more plays on the board because I know that's 25 plays less you have. So I don't believe that plays into it at all.
All right. Fair answer. Okay.
All right. Question for you.
Yep.
There is, so it's time for Where in the World is Tom Brady? Rumors everywhere. Again.
Oh, yeah.
The more this goes on, the more I think he's staying in New England. But
you never know.
Since we last spoke to you folks, he's been linked to the Raiders.
Yep.
He's been linked to the Chargers.
Yep.
And there's even one rumor out there that San Francisco could trade for him and send Jimmy Garoppolo back.
Yeah.
Craig.
Yes.
Put on the tinfoil hat.
I'm going to.
Tell me why this is going to happen.
I will give you 5 reasons, total conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat theory, why it could work. All right, you ready?
Okay, I'm listening.
All right. So first, it's a known fact that Bill Belichick loves Jimmy Garoppolo.
He did. He drafted him.
He drafted him on purpose. That was his guy to succeed Brady. Had it in his head. And then what happens? Kraft sends Garoppolo to San Francisco. Clearly, Bill's not happy. All right, so that's reason 1.
Right.
It's not really going to cost either team a lot to do that if they just swap quarterbacks.
What's Garoppolo making next year?
I have to look that number up. You can while I tell this other...
I will. Keep going.
I think Bill has never gotten over the whole Garoppolo being traded. It's allegedly behind his back. Maybe, maybe not. So I think that would be a big screw you to Kraft if he was able to get him back, which I think, maybe Bill would want to do that. I mean, he sort of did to the Jets, but we won't get into that. I still think Brady wants to play. I don't think I took his Hulu commercial as not that he's staying in New England, that he's not retiring.
Yeah, let's not read too much into that commercial,
right.
Folks.
I just think that means he still wants to play, and I think he does want to play on the West Coast since he is from the West Coast. And just like bands that have been around forever, you tour a lot, you're with each other every single day.
Yeah.
It's just human nature. It happens. You just get tired of each other.
Yeah.
And I think the whole Belichick and Brady relationship, I think it's run its course.
Okay. Jimmy G's base contract is $27.5 million a year. It's a 5-year deal worth $137.5 million. I'm just doing basic math there. I have no idea if it's front-loaded, back-loaded, or what. But if that's the truth, and the Patriots are supposedly lining up a $30 million deal for Brady, that is pretty close. 27.5 versus 30 is pretty close. So that I've got to.
And that's the other part of my theory too. Is if they pay Brady $30 million, how are they upgrading their offense?
That's another concern.
They can't.
So here, there's the Brady thing is twofold. Number one, he wants to keep playing. You want to keep him in New England, but he wants to win. That's the thing. I don't think money matters as much to Tom Brady as it does to the average player. Being married to a supermodel
who's worth more than him,
who makes more money than you do, will affect those things.
Right.
Like, if Eli Manning were still able to produce at a Tom Brady-like level, do you think he'd be retiring right now? If the Giants came back to him and said, we can win a Super Bowl with you next year, but you got to take a pay cut, and Brady has taken multiple pay cuts over the years. I don't think money's the issue. I think Brady wants to win. So if you're going to throw $30 million at Tom Brady, you don't have a lot of money to throw at the tools that you need to upgrade everywhere else.
Right.
Listen, Burkhead, Michelle, White is not going to cut it next year. Julian Edelman
is broken
and drunk. He needs to get sober and healthy. And when he does and gets double teamed, who are you throwing it to?
Mohamed Sanu.
No, he's not good. N'Keal Harry, still not sure what team he plays for. There's two friends. No, they need to get better.
Who's their tight end?
Yes.
Sure.
Well, Ben Watson was, but he's probably leaving again. He's probably going back into retirement. It was a mistake to bring him on. They know that now. He knows that now. Ben Watson will tell you it was a mistake to come to the Patriots. He shouldn't have signed that deal. So, and this is before we even get to the conversation I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like the offensive line did not do the job that he's used to it doing. I feel like he was hit a lot more this year than he was in years past. Maybe that's just my perception, but that's New England has significant upgrades it needs to make at virtually every offensive position.
Yes.
Except quarterback, but if you're going to maintain the quarterback, where's that money coming from? I don't think that Belichick wants to piss off the owner as much as you do. He, at the end of the day, is the boss. He is the guy who's going to pull the paycheck or not. Whoa, sound effects.
Sound effects.
So I don't know that he necessarily wants to get back at him. I think if he went, I think the Belichick Garoppolo reunion is more likely if Belichick is coaching somewhere other than New England. I think
fair.
I think the biggest thing, and I've had this argument with the Patriot fans too. Cinch is going to sit there and go, "Here we go again." Hi, Cinch, and hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb. Hi, Cinch.
The biggest, Brady doesn't want to be forever linked with Belichick. Brady, he says I've got stuff to prove. What? You've got 6 rings. You've won at every level.
Because Brady knows all the people that say that he can't win without Belichick.
So there's the only thing. And if you're listening to those voices, then going somewhere else makes sense.
Then all those rings don't matter.
Yeah. And if that's what he's thinking, I don't know if that's what he's thinking. I haven't talked to. It's not like I called Tom the other day and I was like, "Hey Tom, how you doing?" "Oh, great. I'm thinking about leaving the Patriots because I can't stand playing with Bill anymore." Excuse me. That conversation hasn't happened, to the best of my knowledge. So I don't think that's the case at all. I think the issue is, and maybe it is, I can't figure out what Brady's thinking. I can't.
Here's another thing. Well, now tinfoil hat off because I still think he's going to go to the Chargers. The other thing with Tom Brady, remember the whole thing with his TB12 workout and his personal doctor trainer, whatever the hell that guy was,
doctor lady,
and Bill kicked him out of the stadium.
Yes.
Well, the Chargers have said they would more than be happy to welcome his trainer and doctor there and give him their own facility and set up a whole Tom Brady 12 thing.
Supposedly they have all the equipment on site.
So
already,
if that's what he wants to do when he's done with football, I mean,
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't even remember what the original question was. Oh, where's Tom Brady this week?
Yeah.
I still think at the end of the day he's going to end up back with the Pats. You're still on board with the Chargers?
I'm still on board with the Chargers.
But get ready to talk about this, folks. We're going to talk about this for a while.
Because everyone else is.
And if the CBA negotiations delays the start of free agency, which it might, I haven't heard anything this week, and no news is good news when it comes to collective bargaining.
That's true.
If this deal doesn't get done and free agency is delayed, we're going to hear about it even longer. There's probably a good chance that Tom Brady will be linked to an amateur team in London by the time this is all said and done. So, all right, final questions for you. What do you got?
Final question is sort of another quarterback question. So, Brady, Breeze, and Rivers are all free agents next month.
Correct.
Your thoughts, do they retire or go to another team or sign with their team?
Okay, so we just talked about Brady.
Right, so
my gut feeling is he's going to stay in New England. I don't think there's any chance he retires. Breeze, there's a chance he retires. I think it's a 75 to 80% chance he stays in New Orleans. If New Orleans can find a way to re-sign Taysom Hill, that number goes up. And
Not even Bridgewater?
Why. No, because somebody asked Drew Brees yesterday, would he be willing to share time in order to help Taysom Hill develop? And his response was yes. A quarterback said, yes, I'd be willing to share time. Huh. That says to me that, number one, he sees the value in having Taysom Hill there. Number two, he sees that his own value is better with Hill. And number three, he understands that those trick gadgety plays, when Taysom Hill steps in there, you have no idea what's going to happen.
That's very true.
You have no idea. I'm still waiting for the day for him to find out a way to hand the ball off to himself and then throw it to himself all in one play. So, that's so I think Breeze is probably going back to New Orleans for at least 1 or 2 more years. I think it'll be a short-term deal, 2 years. That's where he'll go, though. Rivers, I don't know why Phillip Rivers doesn't retire. I'm sure physically he feels like he can do it, and there are teams that are desperate and out. You know what I think? Look for him to land with one of the teams that drafts a quarterback in the first round this year. That's what I'm going to say.
So a team like Miami or Jacksonville?
Even Cincinnati. Even Cincinnati. What is the worst thing? Don't forget, folks, the reigning Super Bowl champions drafted Patrick Mahomes and started Alex Smith. They let him sit on the bench for a year.
Which is something I always thought they should do, teams in general.
One game that year. Do you know why he started that one game? It was week 17, and they had already secured a bye. That is the only reason Patrick Mahomes had a start in his first year. They put him in there because they wanted to rest old man Alex Smith. You drafted Patrick Mahomes, who now we know, and at the time, people were like, well, Reed must know something because, he's drafting him this high. At the time, we didn't know that Patrick Mahomes was going to be exactly like Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure some people did. I didn't. But they let him sit for a year. I like that year to develop a quarterback.
Me too.
I really do. So teams that are looking at quarterback this offseason, that are looking to draft a quarterback this year, you've got to be... Cincinnati, we know, is one.
Right.
Carolina is high in that race. I've heard rumors that the Raiders might be looking to make a move to bring in somebody to replace Derek Carr or to draft his successor. Green Bay has hinted that in the right scenario, they might draft a quarterback this year. Well, Aaron Rodgers isn't going anywhere, so that's a bad example of somewhere he could land.
But the Dolphins,
another great example.
Jaguars,
Jags. All of these places are potential landing spots for Rivers, particularly if they draft a quarterback. And I don't think Phillip Rivers is looking at it that way, but he really should. He really should be looking at it's almost time to pass off the torch. Where can I go and make an impact on an organization and set them up for the future? Alex Smith, I think that year that they drafted Mahomes, he was like, they went 14-2. Was that the year that they were the 1 seed and lost at home to the Patriots? I believe it was 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago?
Yes, it was.
All right. Anyway, so it's doable. And if I think Rivers just wants to win. And when he wants to go somewhere that he feels like he has a chance to win and he's valued, Rivers would be welcomed in Cincinnati like a conquering hero.
He would be.
So, yeah, why not? Tampa, I still think, is a potential landing spot for him. I think Tampa's a great landing spot for him.
I've warned everyone I worked with that played fantasy football about Mike Evans. I was like, Mike Evans is going to have 3 giant games.
Good luck picking them. Good luck telling me which one they're going to be.
The rest of the year, yeah.
Good luck telling me which one they're going to be. I can't tell you. I've never been a big fan of Mike Evans. Never been a Mike fan. I understand the numbers are great. When I put him in a fantasy lineup, it's like, who is this guy? He plays like a 4th stringer. He plays like DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he has 220 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And then I say, screw this guy, and I put him on the bench, and I start DeMarcus Robinson, and he has 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, all right, let's move on to our fantastic Super Bowl wrap-up.
Yes.
Chiefs won.
The Chiefs won. Everyone was drunk at the parade.
Everyone was drunk at the parade, especially that guy who went driving down the street.
Or the guy that fell out of the tree.
A guy fell out of a tree?
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, well, I've been busy at work today.
No, well, this guy was up in a tree, and he pulled his pants down. Then he was dancing around on the tree, and then he tried to climb up another branch.
Okay.
And try to put one of his legs over it and then grab it, and then he fell out of the tree.
Okay, so I have a number of questions, but I'm just going to go with the one, why would you pull your pants down?
I'm going to assume he was drunk. I hope he was drunk.
My question remains.
I don't know.
I had 7 or 8 beers at the Super Bowl. Not once did the impulse or thought
Thank
ever
God.
cross my mind
because I was sitting next to you.
my pants. Not once when I stood up to start celebrating did the thought ever think in my... You know what you need to do? Drop your trousers. That thought never entered my head. So...
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Yep.
Well, listen.
Did you know Paul Rudd is a giant
Chiefs fan?
Chiefs
Yes.
fan? I did not know that.
Massive Chiefs fan. Massive. So, funny story really quick. So, yesterday we had a very serious meeting at work. The president of our company and several vice presidents and managers all talking about we need to make some changes in how we're doing certain things, blah, 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 blah. But it was kind of a think tank meeting. Very intense, very serious meeting. Everyone who's worked in this sort of office environment knows these things happen. So, at the end of it, our president goes, but I want to end on a happy note. Somebody tell me something good. And there was a momentary pause, and all the eyes looked around. So finally I just went, my Chiefs won.
Nice.
And one of the other vice presidents who I never get a chance to interact with looked across and went, you're a Chiefs fan? I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Nope, Britt said Missouri.
Well, that's the funny thing, because then they started to laugh, and somebody said, notice she said Missouri. She didn't just say Kansas City. She felt like she needed to say Missouri. So it was funny. So I found out that I have another Chief fan working in my workplace. So it'll be nice. Awesome. It'll be very, very nice. So, and then, of course, our boss looked at me and was like, well, I never know you were a Chiefs fan. I'm like, well, it's not something that normally comes up in our line of work. It's
not usually.
It's not a typical interview question. So your availability, what football team do you back? Those things.
Could you ask that? Is that legal?
I'm sure it's legal. I don't know why you would ask it. I mean, I've done interviews before in my different roles, and there's a lot more important things to ask than who's your football team. Unless you're in the football field, and I'm not. So the Chiefs win. A lot of questions about Shanahan's play calling. This is the second time he's blown a big lead. Big leads are blown by defenses, not by Kyle Shanahan's offense. Yes. Could they have scored points? Could they have done a better job on offense? Yes. Were they up against two of the greatest defensive and adjustment-based minds in the NFL, and Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, when they blew those leads? Abso-freaking-lutely. No one in the NFL as a coach makes adjustments like Bill Belichick. Period. Who makes better adjustments than Bill Belichick?
No one really.
On defense, particularly. They gave up a boatload of points to the Atlanta Falcons in that Super Bowl. They made adjustments. They shut Atlanta down, and their offense went to work. And there is no team, no coach that makes better offensive judgments and adjustments in the second half than Andy Reid. Reid is the Doctor Strange of the NFL. He sees the future. And the Niners, here's the problem. You want to know why the Niners lost this game on a defensive front? Because they didn't change up anything at halftime. They went into halftime and they said, our defense has done a good job. We've held the Chiefs to 10 points. Keep doing what you're doing. And Andy Reid went into halftime and said, I've figured out what they're doing. Here's what we're going to do. And you didn't adjust. Not only did you not adjust at halftime, but at the end of the third quarter, when the Chiefs were starting to warm up, they scored one touchdown in the third quarter? What was?
Yeah, that's when Mahomes, I think, first touchdown.
Something like that.
So that was the one thing that I think bugged me about Shanahan's play calling is for 3/4 of that game, the Chiefs could not stop San Francisco running.
Yep.
They couldn't.
That's
not very well. And then Mahomes scored that one touchdown, and they completely dropped their run game.
That's where Shanahan thought he was going to make his adjustment to win the game. He thought he was going to shift the offense. What is making noise?
It's a commercial on the internet.
I'm trying to pull up the damn box score. Okay, I apologize. No, San Francisco scored 10 unanswered points in the third quarter. So at the end of the third quarter, it was 20-10. So I'm wrong about that. It wasn't until the fourth quarter. But still, Reid made the adjustment. Okay, so maybe Andy Reid didn't make the adjustment at halftime, or maybe it didn't come out the way they wanted to at halftime. But he made the adjustment. San Francisco failed to change. San Francisco only scored 10 points in that third quarter with their fanciness. There you go. They scored the field goal to make it 13-10, and then they got the 1-yard run from Mostert. And don't forget that 1-yard run from Mostert. Sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit. Was set up by a Kansas City interception. Mahomes threw that interception at the 39-yard line. They had a short field. They were inside the Kansas City 40 when they started that drive.
Yes.
It was a short field. So it's not exactly like Jimmy G drove them the length of the field after that interception. Which I'm going to blame Tyreek Hill for that. And I know some people will disagree with me, but that's just me. So, you know what? The end.
The Chiefs won.
I don't know where my thought process was going there. I just had a senior moment.
One funny thing was that Andy Reid carries around that giant, it's not even a board. It's like that laminated sheet.
It looks like a child menu from any restaurant you've ever been to.
Yes, but you can write on it with a marker.
Yes, it's laminated.
Right. So he was. There's one shot of him. He was standing there. He had it in front of his mouth, like the sheet.
Yeah, because he uses it so you can't see what he's saying.
Right. But then he started drawing on it or writing, and then someone came up next to him, like another coach, and he hid it from him. I'm like, you probably should tell that guy what the huge play you just made up in your head. So everyone knows what you're about to call.
The problem is if that guy walks up next to him and goes, 23 left skidoo, and he doesn't have something in front of his mouth, the TV camera picks that up, and somebody with a pair of binoculars goes, 23 left skidoo. Does anybody know what that means? The enemy just said 23 left skidoo after he read whatever Andy was writing down. So it's an abundance of caution.
I know. It was just funny to see.
So for me, they come out of the locker room. San Francisco gets a field goal, goes up 13-10. Kansas City throws the interception. The Niners score a touchdown. There's another interception. Wow, he threw both his interceptions in the third quarter?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Because you had 7 beers.
That's right. I had too much beer. So he throws both his... So there's why they didn't get back into it till the fourth quarter. So, but Mahomes... My biggest problem with this game... Okay, so I got multiple problems with this game.
Right.
Number one, I'm not blaming Shanahan for this. Everybody who's sitting there going, wow, this is Shanahan's fault. Oh my God, what's wrong? He's cursed. He's the next Marty. No, shut up. Shut up. You don't know what you're going to do until you've been in this stage before. The Chiefs at least had the AFC Championship last year. And if you listen to Patrick Mahomes during the offseason, or you listen to me talk about Patrick Mahomes during the offseason, you know that all he did was talk about how tough it was to watch Super Bowl 53. That it was painful to watch the Patriots there, that he thought it should have been them. He got fueled by it. Reed has been on this stage before. Reed has been to multiple championship games, both with the Eagles and now a couple times with the Chiefs. This is his second Super Bowl. He'd lost one already. The stage matters. The experience matters. And I don't want to hear, well, Jimmy Garoppolo has 2 rings with the Patriots. He knows what the game is about. He has never been the starting quarterback for a Super Bowl winning team. Don't tell me that's exactly the same. Okay? By that logic, the guy who carries the bags for the New England Patriots should have the same amount of Super Bowl experience as Tom Brady. No. Playing matters. Playing in the game matters. So I don't want to hear the whole Shanahan's to blame for this BS. Problem number 2 I have, and this hurts me to say this.
All right.
Patrick Mahomes was not the MVP of that game.
He wasn't.
He was not. Who was your MVP?
I've offensively Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is a decent call. I'm going to go Damian Williams. Damian Williams is the person who pretty much sealed that game for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 104 yards on 17 carries. Do the math. That was it, like 8 yards a carry? 7? So it's 6.
Math. Yeah.
6 and change. 6 and change. Tyreek Hill had 9 catches for 105 yards. Here's why Tyreek is not the MVP. He got 9 catches. 16 targets.
Oh.
Caught the ball half the time, and
that's a problem.
One of the interceptions is arguably his fault. You know who the MVP of this game is?
Who?
Byron Pringle. No, I'm joking. Right, honestly, and this is not, I'm not saying he should be the MVP here, but I'm saying this, but Sammy Watkins had a tremendous game.
He did.
Sammy Watkins caught
No one thought he was going to catch anything.
He caught 5 out of 6 targets for 98 yards. That one
Did
play
he have a touchdown?
No,
he didn't. I don't think he did.
No touchdown. Just had to double check that to be sure. Because I'm thinking about that deep ball he caught. There was that deep pass where they were playing a really nice zone, and he broke to the outside, and the safety has to break with him. And the safety didn't break.
No, he did not.
The safety decided, I've got to keep an eye on the center of the field. I'm not going to follow Watkins. I think in his mind, he was convinced that Watkins' break was going to be followed by Tyreek Hill streaking right down towards the middle.
Which is a fair guess.
Which is a fair guess, but you guessed wrong. So the end result is Sammy Watkins is standing on an island, and Patrick Mahomes had all day to get the ball into his hands. And even still, with that ball in the air, I let out a Darth Vader level no. No! Don't throw it to Sammy feet for hands Watkins. Don't throw it to the guy who's like, I don't know, man, maybe I don't want to play next year. Don't throw it to him. He's standing in he was all alone. And I just sat there and I went, whatever happens.
Britt did close his eyes.
I did. And I was not napping because of the beers. I'm like, whatever happens, do not drop this ball. You are all alone. You cannot drop this ball. And he caught it. And that was like, all right, everything's going to be okay. But Sammy Watkins had a really, really solid game. Travis Kelce had a decent game. He caught every one of his targets. So I gotta go there personally with it. Yeah. So on defense, we had a couple of good performances. Chris Jones, 3 pass deflections.
That was huge for them.
It was very clear that the Kansas City Chiefs said to Chris Jones, here's what you're going to do. You're going to be our X factor on defense. You're going to get 0 sacks. You are never going to get to Jimmy G. Well, not never. On most plays. I want you to clog any running lane you think might exist. And when you clog that lane and find out it's a pass, I want you to follow Garoppolo's eyes, push your way to that side of the field, and just put your hands in the air. That is essentially what they said. Every time there was a lane that run, he was always involved. I don't know how many tackles he had, but he seemed to be always involved. And a bunch of, hold on a second, tackles for Chris Jones. I'm looking here. Oh, he's way down the list. Oh, he only had 1 tackle? I feel like he was involved in like every tackle. Oh, okay. I'm wrong on that, but I felt like but he got the 3 pass deflections. He read Jimmy Garoppolo's passing lanes brilliantly. And that's all that matters, is you put your hands up and knock passes down. And he did. And now he's a Super Bowl champion. I'm not.
There you go.
He is. I immediately went online and ordered my shirts.
Nice. Did you get a hat too?
I did not get a hat. I don't wear hats like I used to. I'll probably eventually get a hat, but I'll pick it up when it's on the discount rack at the National next year.
That's fair.
So, Craig, your thoughts about the game? I've been dominating the conversation because it's my goddamn team.
That's fair.
What do you think?
No, I thought it was a really good game. I still think the 49ers had that game and they gave it away.
Oh, no question.
Honestly, like the Chiefs, what I was expecting to see from the Chiefs did not happen until the end of the middle of the fourth quarter.
And I think the first half was because San Francisco schemed for them well defensively. They made adjustments at half. They had the 2 picks in the third quarter that prevented them from getting. Once they settled down and said, nope. I think until the picks happened, they thought we're going to be successful in the third quarter. They thought they were going to be very successful. The Chiefs. I think they were, and then they threw the 2 picks and they were like, all right, now we have to be successful in the fourth quarter. But I think their confidence level coming out of halftime was higher than you might think it would be in their situation, and it showed. It showed. I mean, they had the 2 interceptions, one of which was...
Yeah, no, and that usually kills teams, but it didn't.
Well, the first one...
That wasn't his fault.
No, the first one was the one he hit the Niner right in the numbers.
Oh, no, I'm thinking the bounce one.
Right, the bounce one was, that's partly on Hill, but yeah. I mean, he threw the Niner stepped right in front of him. He should have never thrown that pass. The coverage was there. It was a mistake by Mahomes. But he rebounded from it. We saw earlier this season, Lamar Jackson starts to struggle. He disintegrated. Again, experience matters in these things. Experience matters. So I'm going to also say right now, one of my other problems with this game is I'm tired. I don't want to hear the Chiefs are a dynasty. I don't want to hear they're going to be there. I know they're the favorites.
Britt is not playing the hot hand.
I'm not playing the hot hand. No, it is very difficult to repeat. When was the last time we had repeat champions? The Patriots 2 or 3 years ago? Didn't they win 2 or 3 in a row?
I think.
Yeah, but aside from that, who wins 2 in a row? I think, but you probably got to go back to. You might.
You have to go back to the Cowboys, no?
I think you have to either go back to the.
49ers?
Yeah, you go back to the Cowboys. And if you go back before then, you're probably going back to the Steelers. So 3 times in the last 40 years, 50 years that you've had Super Bowl repeating champions 3 times. No, I'm not buying into this thing. I heard one guy say it's time to start carving Patrick Mahomes' bust for Kenton.
Let's take it easy.
Everybody settle down.
Everyone's still drunk.
Settle down. The Chiefs may be the offseason favorite for the Super Bowl, but a lot can happen. A lot can happen. And I would not put money on them going back to the Super Bowl next year. I'll be thrilled if they do, but I'm limiting my expectations. There's too many good teams in the AFC. And I'm sorry, I think the NFC is woefully bad.
There's a couple good teams.
Who?
Well, 49ers.
Besides the 49ers, obviously.
Seattle when they show up.
Seattle has no running game. Their injuries killed them. Seattle's running back injuries really killed them. I'll take that as a
That was the one thing that was impressive to me about the 49ers, because remember, like in August, early September, no one thought the 49ers were going to make it to the Super Bowl or even win that division.
No, that's true. True. So, now they'll be the favorite. We all thought the LA Rams were going to win that. We thought the Rams were going to run away with that division. Again, further proof how hard it is to go back. The Rams, lost a very close Super Bowl. They've done nothing since.
No.
Nothing. So I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and say Kansas City is going back. I'm just going to enjoy the victory. I have seen my team play in a Super Bowl. I can die happy. The only major sport I'll never see my team compete for a championship now is in hockey, and that's because the Whalers no longer exist.
Oh,
that's it. Every other
maybe they'll come back. Our state still owns the rights to it.
They're never coming back.
I know.
This state can't support pro teams. It can't. All right. Before we get to final thoughts, did we miss anything? What else were you?
No. I think that was the majority of it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. What'd you think of the halftime show?
I enjoyed the halftime show. I'm
hearing some negativity.
Why?
Well, some people are upset that J-Lo did a mini stripper-esque routine on the pole.
Okay. Did no one ever see Cher perform in the 80s?
Don't even go back to the 80s. Go to the year before. I got to personally inspect every one of Adam Levine's tattoos. He
there was
wore
that
no
too?
shirt.
No, he did not.
So why was when Adam Levine rips off his shirt, is everybody like, oh my God, he's hot? When she comes out and she goes 30 seconds on a pole, people are like, that's disgusting.
I got nothing.
Double standard, people. Check your privilege.
The commercials were all right. Nothing too memorable.
Commercials weren't good.
I did really enjoy the Groundhog's Day commercial.
That was probably it. The Plainer Peanut commercial fell flat.
Yeah.
It was the most.
The Doritos commercial was funny.
Which one?
With Sam Elliott sort of
that was good,
CG dancing.
Yeah, but you could tell it was CG.
I know. You
could tell. It was like, Sam Elliott doesn't move like that. You just knew. I like the Tom Brady Hulu commercial because they played off of his quote-unquote status.
Yep.
I like that a great deal. I did not have a problem with the halftime show. I really thought Shakira did a really great job. I thought they both did a good job.
I think so, though.
But I read a lot of hate about J-Lo, and it was inappropriate, and I'm like...
I don't know. Then no one's ever watched a Super Bowl halftime show before.
We've seen worse than that.
Or MTV.
Right.
When they played videos.
Yeah, we've seen worse, way worse than that. I'm not worried about it.
No,
there was some flack because somebody caught a picture of Jay-Z and Beyonce sitting down during the national anthem.
All right, can I just say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead, because I already know the answer.
Do you know how many people... I've been to multiple sporting events for various sports. Do you know how many people I see during the national anthem not standing up or eating or talking on their phone
or failing to remove their hats
or whatever, or having sex? Really, I saw that at a baseball game once. Not a Bluefish game.
That's downright patriotic, I think. I don't know.
So I don't know. It's stupid.
So
to get rage induced.
So
now.
somebody confronted Jay-Z with that in an interview like yesterday, and he was like, "You want to know why I wasn't standing? You guys want to know? You think it's a protest? It's not a protest. I'm the producer of the halftime show and the national anthem. I was texting with somebody who was saying they were missing speakers. They were counting speakers down on the field, and they're like, we're supposed to have 18. Where's the 18th speaker?" He goes, "I was actually doing my job." He goes, I heard the national anthem. He goes, "I didn't get a chance to stand up because I was busy as one of the producers making sure everything was set." And everything was fine ultimately. But he and Beyonce were both on their phones, checking with crew downstairs, making sure everything was ready for the halftime. And that's it. That's it. They were doing their jobs. And just for the record, I used to work with an ex-military guy. Did you know he worked on, some sort of naval boat? One of the larger ones.
Not your uncle, right?
No.
Okay.
No, not my uncle. A guy I used to work with at the Bluefish.
Okay.
He used to say, he would work in the gear shop with me.
Right.
And he would not take off his hat during the national anthem at the Bluefish games.
Okay.
And somebody finally said to him, "Steve, you're retired military. How can you not take off your hat?" And he said, "Do you know that in military installations, and particularly on boats, you don't stop working. They play the anthem every morning." He goes, "Your expectation is you continue performing your duties." He goes, "It's not like you're on this gigantic battle cruiser and the national anthem starts playing at 8 a.m. and everyone stops driving the boat." He goes, "The accepted rule is if you are inside the facility and performing your duties, you don't stop what you're doing to acknowledge the anthem." He goes, if you're not doing your duties or you're outside on the deck, you stop." He goes, "I'm in here. I'm working. I'm not stopping what I'm doing. And it was amazing to me because that's all we ever hear. Oh, you're disrespecting the anthem. Blah, blah, blah. It's different when you're working. It is. And this is a military guy who told us this. You don't stop what you're doing. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if you're on an aircraft carrier and you're trying to launch a jet and you stop what you're doing? You're going to get sucked into an engine.
Right. Right. Hey, listen, your super secret mission's going to take off in 5, but we got to wait 2 more minutes because they're going to play the anthem in a minute, and we got to make sure we're all standing around for the anthem. So don't get in your cockpit. Don't go do your job. The spy plane will be overhead in a minute, and the whole thing will be blown, but don't do it because the anthem's got to play for. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And a military guy taught me that. So I'm not upset with Jay-Z and Beyonce because they did a great job producing the halftime show. And it was not meant as a form of tribute. Protest, a form of protest. And Jay-Z went so far to say, he goes, I would never involve one of my kids in any form of protest. They need to be able to decide for themselves when they want to protest something. And my daughter's 8 and she's not at that level. I would never have protested with my daughter sitting there. And I was like, good for him. He made it good. Very, very clear. No, you're reading too much into this. So.
Yep.
With that, we are out of time. So I'm going to go continue my celebration. Craig drank Celebration.
I did.
By Sierra Nevada today. I'm going to go continue my celebrating. I've got like another 6 months to celebrate this before camps report. I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
Before the Mets season starts and Britt gets very sad.
I don't even want to talk about the Mets. I don't even talk about the Mets. The New York mess. I can't. I can't. And now their buyers pulled out. They've got no money. They're paying 3 different guys to manage the team.
Someone call Mike Piazza.
He's in trouble too over in Italy. He bought. I don't know the whole story. He bought an older soccer team that was hemorrhaging cash and was like, I'm gonna save soccer for this town. And like a year and a half later, it's completely bankrupt.
Oh dear.
It's in worse shape than when he got there.
He probably tried to throw the money to second base.
I saw the headline. It was like. Is like Piazza and soccer arrives as a hero now life threatened or something like that. I was like, oh my god,
and no one's surprised.
And no one's surprised. Well, I'm sure he's surprised. Anyway, we'll be back next week. In the meantime, leave us a review however you listen to us. Any of the many platforms we're on: Apple Podcasts, Player FM. Oh, God. Spotify.
Sometimes YouTube.
We actually got a YouTube comment this week, and I thought somebody had hacked our page. I've never even looked at our YouTube numbers. If people are listening on YouTube, please reach out to us at fignutsdfs@gmail.com or on Twitter at fignutsdfs. We will respond to you. I mean, it was to the point where I was like, you have a new comment on YouTube. I'm like, we have a YouTube channel? Oh, that's right. We probably should start looking at doing something with that in season 4. We also, my final thought, because we didn't even get final thoughts in there, really quick. My final thought is just to let everybody know we've already started planning for the off-season content. That reason we were having beers at Reverie before going to the Super Bowl party was to start talking about our AFC wrap-up episodes. And we went through every team and debated what do we need to talk about during the off-season. So we can look forward to that. So we are going to do our best to pump content through this entire offseason. So, Craig, final thought for you.
Final thought, it was a hell of a fun season.
Yeah.
That was a fun Super Bowl, and congratulations on your Chiefs.
Thank you so much. I've already given the contact information, so we'll just wrap it up there. We'll be back next week. Until then, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast. Go Chiefs.